and sisters, we've all turned up the radio to hear Brother Jimmy Lakey, from coast to coast and shore to shore. Now raise your voice, oh let us all Jimmy Lakey, get out of bed, Jimmy Lakey, raise your voice, Jimmy Lakey, hey, can't live without it with Jimmy Lakey, Jimmy Lakey.
Well, top of the morning to you, everybody. Good to have you here. Jimmy is my name, as you see on the screen, live from the Dallas area, Dallas-Fort Worth, still down here taking care of some family business. And here we are together. I got my green on today. Usually you see me in blue because I always tell you for years, my son would only let me buy, anytime I was at the store, I said, I just want to buy a shirt. He said, no, don't get that. He always bought blue shirts for me. So I always have blue. So today I'm in rebellion on St. Patrick's Day, and I have my green shirt on. I think I have one green shirt, and this may be it. And it's a kind of a green Hawaiian print. So I'm kind of mixing up the Hawaiian and the Irish culture. I don't know what that food tastes like, but I'm sure it's you mix your Guinness with a little bit of a rum-based drink. I don't know. Anyway, good to have you. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. What is it? It's the 17th day of March, year of our Lord, 2025. Pleased to be here. And if you're new to the show, again, this is not the normal studio. This is a hotel room that I broadcast from. I didn't have the luxury of doing that very often when I was with the old corporate radio. and the slave drivers there wanted you in a studio, and yeah, which we never did. But they had all sorts of rules and regulations. We have none, my friends. It's just simply Lakey Unleashed. That's why we call it that. And since we don't have the studio banner sponsor behind me, I'm wearing the logo Rivers Promise there. So don't forget, as a constant reminder when you give to charity, we would love to have your help out there. Love to have you be a part of our charity. All right, got a lot of great guests. Honestly, I don't even know who they are at this point. And the reason I say that is because we're supposed to have Gregory Wrightstone, but about 10 minutes before the show started, his publicist showed up on my text line and said, hey, Greg's flight is delayed and he won't be able to make the show in time. Who do you want? I'm like, well, what do you mean, who do I want? So we may have a mystery roulette guest at about 8:45 this morning Mountain Time, 10:45 Eastern Time. So I'm just warning you, we may end the show early. I don't know. But 8:45, Greg Wrightstone is supposed to be on. It was going to be a fun topic because it is amazing what we're watching happening. Last week, the big news of the week was all the terrorists, these eco-terrorists bombing and firebombing and vandalizing Tesla dealerships. And you have all these celebrities saying, I'm getting rid of my Tesla. I'm getting rid of my Tesla. Well, I guarantee if they get rid of their Tesla, they're not going to go drive a Prius. Okay. These are big time celebrities. They got the Tesla because they could stroke their little ego, their narcissism about driving an EV, and they didn't have to drive a little Prius or a Chevy Leaf. So the Nissan Leaf, they didn't have to do that. And they're not going to drive that. So these celebrities guaranteed are either going to forego having that car replaced, or the other cars in their collection they will use, which are going to be gas guzzlers. In other words, it seems as if the liberal, narcissistic, virtue signaling leftists out there were not that concerned about the environment after all, because if you're really concerned about the environment, do you really want to firebomb Tesla vehicles and cause the lithium batteries to explode and to pollute the air? If they're really concerned about the environment, which they weren't, it was all about virtue signaling. You know, they're all for illegals crossing the border until you say, hey, if you love them crossing the border so much, why don't you let them come stay with you? And that's when they go bat crap crazy. They're always for a war in Ukraine, a perpetual war in Ukraine, and Volodymyr Zelensky, until you say, hey, could you make a donation to Volodymyr? And by the way, you have some kids, you have some grandkids, let's send them over there and put them on the front line and let's get them killed. And then they're all of a sudden, they're not so much for it. And that's what we're watching here with this Tesla thing, is this green, new, environmentally friendly Hollywood that we were told was so virtuous and so amazing has proven not to be amazing. They're not really true to the word, and they're getting rid of their Tesla. And so I saw this meme, and I think it's a fantastic idea for President Trump. Here's a fantastic idea I would like to see play out. You ready for this? So since they've really burdened themselves with this EV, the Green New Deal kind of gospel, that's been the gospel that they've been living by. And now that Elon is on the other side, now they're foregoing the gospel of the Green New Deal. They don't believe in that anymore because they don't want to be the same side as Elon. So I have a great idea. And it's not original, but I think it works out. And I could claim it as original because it crossed my mind. I just didn't create the meme about it. But here's what I would suggest we do. You ready? Here's what I suggest we do. Donald Trump needs to declare himself a woman, identify as a woman. And if Donald Trump will identify as a woman, then he can proclaim that he is the first female president, even if he does it just for a few weeks, and claim it. And then you will see them abandon the gospel and their doctrine of gender ideology and gender transformation. You would see them walk away from that as quickly as they have walked away with the Green New Deal. So that's an idea. President Trump, if you're listening today, I'm sorry I'm not at the Trump Tower, but there were no Trump Towers where I'm at. So I'm just in this little hotel room. But President Trump, if you're listening, if you want to see them the way they're walking away from the Green New Radical Deal, you could also now identify as a woman. And if you let me read Rich's comment there. By the way, always good comments. I haven't pushed that yet. I believe that they are using Elon as an excuse for backing off of going all electric. Democrats are always straddling the fence. I think they really believe their idiocy of stuff. I mean, think of this. I digress, and I'll come back to this other thought. Michael Bennet, our Colorado senator, for weeks and months tweeted about the Inflation Reduction Act. If you read the Inflation Reduction Act that passed a few years ago, there was nothing about inflation. It was all projects to go to Green New Deal environmental things. And some of them do believe it. They really believe that the world has always done it 7 to 9 years. Remember, it's always 7 to 9 years. So anyway, President Trump, if you're listening this morning, I beseech you, therefore, my brother, that you should declare yourself a woman, and a beautiful woman, the most beautiful woman that's ever lived. You can say anything you want, declare yourself the first female president, and watch the Democrats finally walk away from the insanity of mental illness, that believing that the biology of a man and the biology of a woman are pretty much interchangeable, and you can just be whatever you want to be. So that's my advice to the president today. By the way, I didn't load this up, and I don't know if I have space to do it. I found this. I didn't load this. We had technical issues today. I'm on the road, so we're not in the normal studio, obviously, and technical issues. And by the way, while I look for something, I want you to do this if you could. Say hi to us. Say hi to us in the on any of the chat room platforms. You can do that. We'd love to have you say hello. If you're on Facebook, you make a Facebook comment. It shows up here in the studio, and it's a glorious thing to say hi to you. I'd love to have you. I want you to see this photo. This is on the transgender ideology. Look at this. No matter what you do to this building, everyone knows it used to be a Pizza Hut. This is what the trans community fails to understand. Let me say it again. Look at the building. Pay attention. This is your sermon illustration for the day. No matter what you do to this building, everyone knows it used to be a Pizza Hut. This is what the trans community fails to understand. So with that photo in mind, so we'll always look at Donald Trump and know he's a man. Well, the trans community thinks we can change it and morph it. So look at that. I think it would be even more apropos if we found an old building of the A-frame Wiener Schnitzel. And no matter what you say about that A-frame Wiener Schnitzel building, you would still know that it always used to be a Wiener Schnitzel. So either way, you get the idea. I just wanted to throw that up there and show that to you. No matter what you do to the building, it used to be a Pizza Hut. So again, they're walking away from the Green New Deal gospel, and they're walking away as quickly as they can. And evidently it was all a farce, and it was all a fraud, and it was all a game. All right, speaking of things that were a game, they're having a little game, parlor game in the Democrat Party. Chuck Schumer is under fire. They are on fire against him. Some of them are. The AOC wing of the party is against him because he decided that he was going to help the continuing resolution passed last week. Here's the question that is now being asked, and there's polling data that was out this weekend. Who is the leader on Capitol Hill of the Democrat Party? By far, most people said they have no clue. No one knows who's leading the Democrat Party on Capitol Hill. AOC got the most of as far as the plurality of votes. She got 10%. Tim Walz was like below Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer got 2%. Tim Walz got 1%. I think Kamala, she got 9%. So in honesty, who is the leader of the Democrat Party? Now, this is the branding thing you have going on out there, that while Chuck Schumer and AOC and the Capitol Hill Democrats make asses of themselves, you have Gavin Newsom out there trying to reinvent himself in California, and he's doing these podcasts trying to sit down with conservatives and have reasoned conversations. I kind of like what we talked about last week. That some of the California legislature was saying that Republicans need to just stop paying attention to Gavin Newsom. That's how he's going to get his ratings. That's how he's going to get his viewing numbers up. If Charlie Kirk shows up on the Gavin Newsom show, which he has, then Charlie Kirk is going to get some some attention for Gavin Newsom. And so if I'm you as a conservative, whether you're Michael Savage or Steve Bannon or Charlie Kirk, you don't need attention that bad. Ignore Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom is using you to build an audience that he doesn't have, because most people in America know that he's a jerk. So he puts on this, he greases his hair back and his slick used carsman salesman look, and he tries to convince America that he's something he is not. And Gavin Newsom has a benefit to be able to do that because he's prettier to look at. For instance, our governor here in the state of Colorado, it ain't much to look at. He's not much to listen to. He's not a great speaker. And so therefore, when he tries to convince everybody he's a libertarian, we go, yeah, we don't want to look at you, but look at your track record. It sucks. Gavin is a little bit easier to sell like that. So stop paying attention to the Gavin Newsom podcast. It is interesting to see the debate, but Gavin Newsom is using the strength of conservative media to try to rebolster himself and reinvent himself as a fraudulent and dumb governor. So here's the question. Who is the leader of the Democrat Party on Capitol Hill? Now, there was a story right after the joint address to Congress. Anybody remember that? That this little old senator from Michigan, she was a nice little senator. She came out and she made a speech, and she sounded very moderate. Her name was Slotkin. Senator Slotkin, the newly elected Michigan senator. She won her Senate race despite Trump carrying the state. And so Slotkin gets out and she delivered the rebuttal. And a lot of people thought, boy, is she nice? She sounded different. Well, no, she sounded different, but it's like Gavin Newsom. Listen, these people at the core, the reason they can get elected in the modern day Democrat Party is because they're radical freaks. That's it. That's the only way you can get elected. Michigan has a very high population of the Ilhan Omar types. And so guess what? If you don't proliferate to them and you don't give them what they want, then you're not going to get elected. So just because Senator Alyssa Slotkin came out on the joint session of Congress rebuttal and she said such nice things about moderation and nice things about humanity and getting along, and can't we all get along? In my heart, I saw my friends go, well, she sounded different. She sounded different. I never said a thing. I bit my tongue because I don't talk politics in polite company. But she's not different. Don't be fooled. But because this is what they do. They get in front of the camera and they dupe you and they fool you. And so she put a nice speech out there. Well, last week, I don't know if you know, this radical liberal from Michigan, Slotkin, that everybody got deceived because the devils are deceitful. The devils are deceitful. Even the snake in the garden deceived Eve to think he was speaking the right thing. Well, Slotkin got on The View last week, and she says, I think she got on The View last week, and she slammed Trump Republicans, talked about the intelligence of Trump Republicans. She says she just said nasty things. So again, read the story. I'll find the audio here. I had it yesterday, and I can't find it now in my stack. But even the Slotkin lady, she shows up on this list of potential leaders for Democrats and not doing very well. She's at like 4%, thinks she has a leadership role in the Democrat Party. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens among the Democrats. But Chuck Schumer is under fire by the Democrats. And there's now talk that AOC herself is going to step in and do a primary challenge on old Chuck Schumer. You know what the most glorious thing about this whole Trump win? It's not that we have daddies back home in the White House. It's not that we're a leader on the world stage again. It's the fact that the Democrats, I go back, and again, this is not a Bible study, but I think there's a lot of biblical wisdom we can follow, that the Bible says pride, finish it with me if you know it, comes before your fall. Pride comes before a fall. And we have watched arrogance. We have watched deceit. We have watched lies. We have watched Chuck Schumer's lies, Adam Schiff's lies, Nancy Pelosi's lies. And all of a sudden you can see them spiraling and falling, just literally falling in front of us. And I believe the Bible warned them, pride will come before your fall. And they were so prideful that they had defeated President Donald J. Trump, and yet the greatest comeback in political history has happened, and they don't know what to do. All Chuck Schumer did, let me give you some analysis. All Chuck Schumer did in coming out and signing or agreeing for the continuing resolution, not blocking it, was he decided, hey, listen, we were listening to the advisors of the radicals for the State of the Union or the joint session of Congress speech. We listened to them, and we were thoroughly lambasted. We listened to the people that want to vote against this. The people that wanted to vote against the continuing resolution were the same people that voted that they could hold up signs in the paddles and say you stink or you smell or I farted or whatever it says. That's the mentality. And Chuck says we listened to those consultants last time, and we didn't do so well. The shenanigans and the public display of stupidity of the Democrats at the State of the Union or the joint session of Congress speech, it did not go over well. The polls show it. The media discovered, even their own Democrat media said, who came up with that idea? That was dumb. And so Chuck Schumer said, wait, why are we listening to the same people over and over again? Why are we listening to the same people over and over and over again? They led us down the primrose path to destruction at the State of the Union, and now we're going to listen to them and have it called Schumer's shutdown. The Schumer shutdown. How are we going to get out of this? How are we going to walk it back? This is the Joe Biden budget, and we're just going to continue it through October, so it's not going to play well. So Chuck Schumer actually was probably the smartest dude in the party at that point by leadership and say, you know what, we listened to you guys last time. We held up signs. We all wore different costumes. Some of you wore pink. Some of you wore black. We were like a color-coded box of M&Ms. We didn't know what we stood for. We were standing for all sorts of messages rather than just sitting there and listening to a speech like grown-ass adults. And so Chuck Schumer, for a rare moment in his life, decided to be a grown-ass adult, and he's being lambasted. And now Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she may, the rumor is, I don't think she said it, but she may do a primary challenge on old Chucky Schumer. And I think that's fantastic. Pop the popcorn, kids. It's going to be good. Supposedly, last week, the Democrats had a retreat. Now, when you say the word retreat, I picture you go away, you do horseback riding, s'mores around the campfire. Maybe you sing Kumbaya at the end of the night. It's kind of a retreat. You get a little massage, a pedicure, manicure, a retreat. Well, Dems did a retreat last week, and evidently they went to some resort or somewhere in Virginia, and it's kind of their organizing party. It's where they kind of have their, let's all get our ducks in a row and let's all march the same direction. And evidently there was a lot of chaotic fighting, and evidently the rumor in the streets in Washington, D.C. inside the Beltway is they saw some very nasty numbers. And here's what the numbers showed. Now, this was after the State of the Union or joint session of Congress speech. After the reaction there, they got some numbers presented to them by their inside pollsters that say if you keep going down the path you're going of resistance, you are going to get slaughtered in the midterms. Now, the midterms are a long time away, so don't count your chickens before they ever hatch. The midterms are a heck of a long ways away. But the polling number they supposedly saw at this inside the Beltway retreat was not good for the Democrats. And it was after that retreat and after seeing the numbers, follow the timeline, that Chuck Schumer said, if we keep going the way we're going and keep listening to the people that told us to dress in color-coded sections and to hold up signs and to pout and not clap for the kid with brain cancer, if we keep going that direction, it ain't going to be pretty for us. It's not going to be pretty. And I think it's fantastic. So pop the popcorn. Democrats are in chaos. If you'd like to comment at any of the chat room platforms, Rumble, X, Good Morning, hello, Red Wave America, hello, Media Equalizer, hello, Truth Social. Everybody, if you're listening to us, make sure you say hi to us and make a comment, and we can read those live this morning on the air. This morning, producer Chad is screening them as we speak. All right, another quick story I want to get to is President Trump. I said this before the election. Not only is it fun to watch the Democrats in disarray, but I find great enjoyment. And I'm sure I wouldn't find enjoyment if I were on the other side, but being on the Trump train as I am, I find great enjoyment in the fact that, you ready? Perfect enjoyment that the Trump troll game is on its A game. It is wonderful. They put this out on the Truth Social this weekend. It's the hallway, so it's photoshopped a little bit, but there on the left side of your screen, you will see President Trump 45, and there he is, his presidential photo. And then of course, the next one in line should be Joseph Ruben and Robinette Biden, right? The old demented poopy pants. Well, they replaced his photo with an auto pen. See that? The auto pen, there's the troll. And then there's President 46 is the auto pen. And then President 47, there's President Trump and his current photo. And I think that's fantastic. What a troll game, because it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And again, I don't know if there's a court ruling coming. I don't know if there's things that can be challenged, but I think we need to get to the bottom at the very least is who was in control of the auto pen of Joe Biden. That's where a president does legally, I guess legally, I'd have to look at the law here and looked at it. They sign the pen. If they're out of the way, just, put my auto pen signature. It's like an auto stamp, and it's an automatic pen. And evidently you can tell when a document has been signed by auto pen. And looking back, they're starting to look at where things were signed, because if President Biden was, let's say, in Georgia or Montana and something was being signed to the White House, that was an auto pen. And so the story last week that a lot of things that were being signed by President Biden were actually auto pens. And that is very crazily interesting to see how much of that is legal. I guess all of it's legal. And Donald Trump put up a tweet, and I think this is going to be worth exploring. And at least it's going to make people like Liz Cheney sweat a little bit. Let me pull up it's a Truth Social, and it's on my phone, and I think producer Chad has it for the screen as well. But this is an interesting comment. This is not the entirety of it. The pardons that sleepy Joe Biden, that's what that reads on the screen. I know it's probably small for some of you. The pardons that sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs, the January 6th committee, and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further effect or force because of the fact that they were done by auto pen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the unselect committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence during their 2-year witch hunt of me and other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the Justice Department. Now, this is interesting. Remember the morning of the inauguration. And I remember we were at the Casbar Cigar broadcasting live at Lafayette, Colorado. Snowy, icy morning. I slid through 3 intersections to get there. It took me an hour to drive, a 30-minute drive, a 15-minute drive. It was a messy day, still a full house. A lot of you still came down from a long ways, and some of you risked life or limb, which we're glad you survived. But next time we'll do it in better weather. We'll choose better weather for this. I'll never forget me sitting behind the broadcast desk there, and we had the breaking news that that Biden had pardoned people, and the pardons were not released until he had left the White House. And you started to think, and I'm trying to wonder the protocol of how this happened. And this was when he pardoned Fauci and the little effer and the J6 committee and just a bunch, his brother, all of his family. I mean, he went widespread with these crazy pardons. And I'm thinking, how is he pardoning people? Did they just hold it back and not release it? Do they? And I don't know the process of it. But there was speculation at the time that they did that, signed that for Joe. And was he even aware of those pardons? Maybe they mentioned it. Maybe he drooled and gave him some ice cream here. Oh, God, I like that. Let me crap my pants. I don't know what he did. But it's going to be interesting to see what can be proven about this auto pen. I don't know the rules of it. I don't know when it started. I guarantee you George Washington did not have an auto pen. Is there some constitutional legal authority to use an auto pen? And possibly, and again, you say that sounds crazy. President Trump just can't void a pardon. Donald Trump has been right about a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of things that people say he can't do that. That's not right. Are they legal? And I don't know. Some of you constitutional scholars, I think with this Truth Social or this truth that he put out here, that you're going to have to ask some real serious questions. But I'm telling you, it's not just a troll. When he puts out the tweet on the Truth Social, you just saw it on the screen, and he also trolls it with the presidential portrait isn't Joseph Robinette Robinette Biden. It's actually the auto pen. Trump is onto something, and I guarantee you, this hotel cup of coffee that I have here, that they're looking into it as to whether it's legal. I don't know if it is. Don't understand it. Don't understand the legal of it. But I'm telling you, it's a bigger deal. This is not just Donald Trump trolling. I think this is a real search into, can you really do that? Because you think about that, he's driving to the Capitol for the inauguration. He's left the White House, and suddenly a bunch of people got pardoned. Did Joe Biden actually know about those pardons? Did he sign it himself, or did he walk out the door and someone used the auto pen on it and give him credit for it. It's going to be interesting, but I think if you just saw the photo there in the White House of the auto pen troll, I think that's fantastic. If you couple that with the truth and the declaring them void, vacant, and no further force of effect, that tells me that he's told Kash Patel and Pam Bondi to start looking into this, and let's get some kind of a ruling as to when it is appropriate to use the auto pen versus not. Because again, go back, look up the story last week, auto pen Joe Biden, and you find out that a lot of the big things that he supposedly signed, he didn't sign them at all. He was not anywhere in the country to even be able to do that. All right, let's see. What else? Oh, the gang member. Illegals go to jail. Anybody see that the illegals go to jail? I'll play that video for you in just a second. It's fantastic. They go to El Salvador, and let's just say they are not treated. They are not treated very nicely, and they probably don't deserve to be treated very nicely. I'll play some of that video of that in just a second. I have it here on my computer. We had technical issues being out of the studio this morning, and I'll get that up here. You got to see it. If you haven't seen it, I hate to say it, you know, they're all God's children, but you break a law, Tren de Aragua. I wonder how many of these Tren de Aragua people that got marched into the El Salvadorian jail this weekend, I wonder how many of them were from Aurora, Colorado. I wonder how many of these 242, I think, were Tren de Aragua that had been in America. And, of course, a lot of them had been camped out in Aurora, Colorado, and the lying Sacagawea governor, Jared Polis, said there's no Tren de Aragua problem. The screen says these guys were monsters. And these were monsters that Jared Polis, our governor, and the little dweeby mayor of Denver, Mike Johnson, were willing to have you walk among you and tell you, hey, don't worry about the monsters. The monsters don't exist. Hundreds of them shipped to an El Salvadorian jail over the weekend, and they deserve everything they get there. And they're out of our problem, and let's put them back to the problem of Central and South America. Here we go. This is a fun story. Federal judge orders deportation flights carrying alleged Venezuelan gang holders. So this radical judge that's appointed by Biden says, wait, you've got these prisoners going to El Salvador. Stop the flights. Turn back around, says the judge in D.C. And the flights are already on their way to El Salvador. And I guess the El Salvadorian president responded to the judge with a big tweeting middle finger and just said, you can see at the top, oops, too late. That's the El Salvadorian president responding to the radicalized judge in D.C. that says, you can't ship these El Salvadorian criminals or these criminals to El Salvador. We have to keep them here so that Jared Polis can release them on the streets of Denver. We have to keep them here so Mike Johnson can keep them on the streets of Denver and wherever else in the country they were at. And the El Salvadorian president says, oops, too late. We already got them. I'll play the video for you in just a second. I know I have it here, and if you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. All right, good morning to everybody. It's Happy St. Patrick's Day. I have a rare green shirt on. I've told the story for years that I only wear blue. When we do the TV show Frontier Taste and Tales, I showed up with a lot of blue shirts that I chose myself, and then I showed up, and the producers of the show Frontier Taste and Tales said, we don't like any of your shirts. I said, I spent a lot of money in this wardrobe, and they said, well, we're going to buy other stuff for you. And they liked my skin tone more in reds. I don't know, what's a gay guys. Whatever they wanted. Actually, they weren't, but if they're watching, yeah, you are. So they wanted me in red, so I didn't wear any blue. I looked like I was wearing Italian restaurant tablecloths in Frontier Taste and Tales, the season with the shot of that. It was all plaids and reds, and it was awful. And so after that, I got back, and I liked the blues, and my son was used to seeing me in the blues, and I refused to wear the reds, even though my skin tone, evidently, according to those guys, was better for that on television. And so I just wear the blues, and I have all my Rivers Promise stuff on there, and it's here today. Well, today is St. Patty's Day, and I'm not here in the regular studio. I am out of state handling family business in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I'll be here a few more days. And I decided it's St. Patrick's Day, and so I decided to wear green today. So not only are my old television producers from Frontier Taste and Tales days probably angry with me that I'm wearing green, my son is probably, if he watched it, he probably wouldn't. If he's watching, he's angry that I'm not in blue. So with this one singular act of putting on a green shirt and dressing myself today, I have pissed off a whole bunch of people. You're welcome. It's real easy to do when you're me. So All right, everybody. I always talk about charity and supporting good causes, and I talk about my charity all the time. And you guys are great. Over the weekend, a wonderful gift came in from the Ziegler family. They contributed $700 over the weekend to the cause of Rivers Promise and our General Greatest Need Fund, and friends of the program, friends of the charity, and appreciate them. So anyway, anything you do to help any charity, I always say, do good. Just do good. If kids in Africa are not your deal, that's fine. Find your deal. If homeless people are your deal, support it. Give. And we live in the greatest nation on God's green earth, and we all have a little bit something extra to give. Some of you got a lot of extra. Some of you got a little something. But we can all give something: time, talent, treasure. And when you're broke, go to the pantry and look at the canned goods and the packaged foods that you haven't used in a while. Take them down to the food bank and donate them there. We can all do something. Well, somebody that's a good friend of mine, he's a chef. I use air quotes, not that he's not a great cook, but I don't want to get into licensing issues if there's some registration he's supposed to have. His name is Chef Roger, and he's on the hotline in the studio here. And you've heard me talk about these charity dinners on the radio. I talk about charity dinners that my friend Roger and Sherry's Culinary Experience, they host, and it's out of their pocket. It's at their home, private home, and we've done two now at Rivers Promise, and Roger knows when we put those on sale, they're pretty much tickets are gone like with a day or so, maybe an hour or so. They sell out because the reach. Well, he's got one coming up this Saturday. I'm not even sure I'll be back for it because I'm still in the Dallas area. But Chef Roger is in the studio, in the green room. We bring him onto the program. I think he's there. And guess what? We're going to talk about a dinner event coming up this Saturday at Roger's house. Roger, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So this weekend, this Saturday, charity event, your house, you're cooking up the food. You got the chef coat on there. First of all, the beneficiary is Hometown Heroes Outdoors, HHO. Tell us about that.
So Hometown Hero Outdoors, they take active duty military veterans and first responders, and they take them out to any outdoor activity, hunting, fishing. They take them on hiking trips. I've actually done a few adventures with them. I've gone on hog hunts with them. I've taken butchering classes with them. So anything to kind of rebuild that camaraderie that they missed from their time in active service or when they experienced in law enforcement. So get them out experiencing the outdoors again.
Talk about the importance of this, because anybody you served and went through some disabling events and just some trauma in your time of service and the actions you did for your government. Why is a group like HHO, Hometown Hero Outdoors, so important?
So a lot of times what one of the big pieces veterans miss is the camaraderie. And so, I went on a hog hunt, which was a couple of days. We went down to South Texas. It was all Colorado folks, and we drove down, spent some time together, and you really get to spend time together and you rebuild that camaraderie. And that's something that a lot of people miss. And it's really important to kind of rekindle some of that. And it gets people outdoors, and it's really kind of healing to do that. There's a lot of great charities that kind of get people outside doing those things. It's really important to experience that. It's really healing, whether it's fly fishing, whether it's just getting out and experiencing those the getting outside and healing. It's very important to be with like-minded people, and to be able to do those kinds of things is really important.
I know with your work, you are very aware of the risk and the dangers of veterans out there through coming back and returning, and a lot of the mental health risk. What's are we improving on the mental health care and reducing the suicide rate among veterans?
It has improved a lot over time. If you look back from like Vietnam time frame, there's been a lot of awareness over the years, but you also have to consider we've had 20 years of warfare, over 20 years with Afghanistan and Vietnam. So we've had a lot more trauma over the years than we've had in the past. We have to take that into account. I mean, the VA has done a lot to improve, but there's still a lot to be done. There's a lot more awareness now, but there's still a stigma attached to mental health and mental awareness. And a lot of people tend to kind of shy away from getting help that they need. So, and especially with VA, people tend to not want to get the help that they need. So that's where these organizations like Hometown Hero Outdoors, or there's a bunch of great other organizations come into play. Healing Water is another one. There's a bunch of great organizations that kind of step into those areas that kind of help out. And so whatever the organization is, it's important to have these kind of organizations that fill in the gaps to help veterans that are in need to reach out and kind of break through that stigma. It's really important to fill that in, because the suicide rate amongst veterans is high compared to the national average. I mean, the national average of suicide is 4.5%. And, the numbers change depending on who you ask of the suicide rate amongst veterans, but the kind of the standard is, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. We've got to do something to get that number down. It's tremendously high. We need to do something to get that down. And, right now that with, what's going on with the government, that there's a lot of change inside the Veterans Administration, and really we can use all the help we can get. So whatever, it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. And it's always a good time to help our veteran community, and also our law enforcement community. The law enforcement, we tend to forget about our first responders. They see a lot of trauma as well. I mean, firefighters and police officers, they go through a tremendous amount of trauma from what they see day to day. We can't underestimate what they go through and deal with on a day-to-day basis. So we can't forget them as well.
So the charity is Hometown Heroes Outdoors. You're going to host a dinner. First of all, it's this Saturday. It's going to be at your private house. You and your wife open it up for charity dinners throughout the course of the year. You guys cover all the expense, all the drinks, everything is on you. That's out of your pocket. It's your way to giving. And you just ask people to come and buy a ticket, have fantastic top shelf level quality food. You have a great culinary team that works with you. It's this Saturday, and two things people can do. Number one, they can just buy a ticket and attend, or they could buy a ticket and not attend if they're out of state and say, I just want to contribute. Talk about the dinner itself coming up this Saturday. Tease us a little bit. I have not had breakfast this morning. I've just had a couple of cups of coffee, so tease me.
So the dinner is not like anything you're going to find anywhere. I'm very particular on what we serve. If you buy a ticket, please do attend, because I plan for how many people come. You can buy a ticket directly from Hometown Hero Outdoors. We never touch any of the money, so the money goes directly to the charity. 100% of the money goes directly to the charity, and it's going to be getting every penny goes to getting veterans involved and first responders involved in outdoor activities. So when I say the food's not like anything you're going to get anywhere, so we have I do all the butchering myself. So we're going to have a Mangalista breed pig, which is a very specialty breed pig. It's a Hungarian pig. I butchered it myself. So we're going to have an entire shoulder on a rotisserie, cooking all day, slow roasted, more of a Bavarian style, more like a Schweinhaxen style pork shoulder on rotisserie all day long. We're going to have some grilled chicken if pork's not your thing. We're doing a sauce flight. 3 different types of sauces to go with it. We're going to have some Thai chicken salad. I've traveled all over the world, and so I bring a lot of those flavors back with me from all my different travels. I've worked in 47 countries, so one of the things I've experienced is a lot of different cuisine. So we bring a lot of those different flavors back, and we try to showcase a lot of different flavors from around the world. So we're going to have some Southern German, some Bavarian style flavors. We're gonna have a little bit of Southeast Asian flavors, a little bit of Mediterranean flavors, all kind of blended together. Things that go well together and pair together. And like I said, all the food, we know the sources of them. We get some produce donated to us from Infinite Harvest. So the produce we're gonna be serving is gonna be all fresh. We're gonna be harvesting on Thursday. We're very particular about the source of food. We're gonna have some empanadas, and the beef we're serving is all grass-fed, grass-finished on organic alfalfa. So we know all of our food sources. It's all natural, and we're very particular about what we serve. So I think it's not like another meal you're going to get anywhere else in town. We're going to have like some macaroni and cheese with some beer and bacon, macaroni and cheese. So we really go all out on what we serve. So it's $150 a ticket per person, and 100% of that ticket price goes straight to the charity. We're gonna have some silent auction items, and 100% of the auction items, all that money goes straight to the charity as well. So we hope that you can come and enjoy.
You can see on the screen, it says purchase your tickets at hometownheroesoutdoors.org. And there's a link there. I know Hometown Heroes does stuff all over, but there's a link specifically for your dinner there.
And it's from the Colorado chapter. So if you go to that's the national. But you have to go to the Colorado chapter to get the tickets.
All right, we'll make sure we have that exact address here. If somebody wants to just can't come and they want to donate, on that Colorado chapter page, there's a way to do that. Correct. Hometown Heroes Outdoors. Roger, let's touch base later this week and see where we progress. But these are not big dinners. These are, it's like 40 people and stuff, and you're about halfway there. So, I mean, it's just at your private residence. So this is an exclusive. This is not banquet style where you're going to be at some rubber chicken dinner at a big resort somewhere. This is in your personal residence, and people are sitting out in the patio. People are sitting. It's very casual, but it's very private and intimate.
Yeah, I never did like the big banquet style dinners where you sit down, get a rubber chicken for dinner. I always like to mingle and socialize. So we'll have fire pits going outside. We'll have some cigar smoking outside. We'll have a lot of socializing. So there'll be lots of food, appetizers going, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, if I am back in town, I will be at your house on Saturday because you don't live far from me, so I know where you live. And by the way, if you want to know where he lives, you got to buy a ticket. Then he'll tell you where he lives, and you'll see it. Chef Roger, thank you, sir. It's here you see on the screen, Hometown Heroes Outdoors /chapters/Colorado, or just go to the .org and find the Colorado chapter. And the ticket is for this Saturday night, $150 Saturday evening. And I promise you, it is a fun time. I've been to many of these, and he's done a couple of these for Rivers Promise, and they're a great blessing to all the charities. And again, if veterans are your deal, again, be generous. And this is a great organization you can give to. HometownHeroesOutdoors.org, the Colorado chapter, and the dinner is this coming Saturday. Chef Roger, we will touch base later in the week, sir, and find out how ticket sales. And I'm telling you, matter of fact, the first one he ever hosted for Rivers Promise, my charity organization, which is on my hat. I'm there walking around, setting up some things, and it's just a private residence, his home. And somebody says, "Hey, I'm Corey." And I didn't realize I had never met Corey Clinton face to face. I've been using 1 hour heating and air conditioning for years at my house, but Corey's the big boss. I'd never met him. And he and his wife, Melissa, were there. And I got to meet him for the first time. And so the last two I think we've had for the Rivers Promise, Chuck Lehman, Alicia Lewis, Joshua Lewis, Lehman Lewis were there. Sherry Cree, you hear me talk about Sherry. I'll give you a little inside scoop. Sherry Cree, Chef Rogers, her husband. Now you get the picture. Tight family, my friends. We're all tight family. We take care of each other. So they're great events. I promise you will enjoy it if you can make it. $150, and it all goes to charity. The Roger's even careful. He's like, I don't touch the money. You got to buy it through the charity. I don't want to. Nope, I'm not touching anything. But he donates all the food. He sources it all. He'll work 24 to 48 hours with his team to get that culinary experience together. All right, we'll talk more about it. How's everybody doing? Everybody's good. If you're wondering, where's the fancy set behind Jimmy Lakey? I am out of town this week, last week as well. As I said, I'm dealing with some family issues and some family health things. We're working through with some family members. So here I am in Dallas and working from here. That's what I'm doing. Thank you, and you're welcome. Here's what we want to do, my friends, is remind you that you can call Sherry Cree if you thought about moving, relocating. Just talked about Sherry a moment ago. Might as well use it as a segue. This is the perfect time of year. It's March, and inventory of homes on the real estate market are very low right now. So people out there buying, you're like, well, that's not the right one, but it's getting close. There's Sherry, a lovely photo of Ascendant Real Estate. Go to our website, homeswithsherry.com, and have a consultation, a conversation with her, especially if you've been looking for a home, should I buy now? Inventory's low. Well, tell Sherry what you're looking for, and she can start finding that out, and she can search and find it. But also you have to remember that if you've been thinking about selling, the sooner you get that home on the market can be the better times that you're going to move that thing quickly because, again, inventory is low. And that can even lead to sometimes let's just say some competitive bidding wars. So it's a great time. Now is the time, really, as the weather gets warmer, people start thinking about moving. Springtime advances by the summer. This is really kind of the time to start getting it all done and just say, well, I'm not ready to put the sign in the yard yet. Well, Sherry will talk with you about what you should be doing and help you get it done, whether it's some touch up on your house or maybe start getting some staging in place. Homeswithsherry.com. Listen, she doesn't just want to sell your home. She wants to become your real estate agent for life. She wants to become your realtor for life. And she believes that if you work it together and you have this strategy, that real estate can end up creating generational wealth if you play it right and if you make some right decisions. Then she wants to help you. She gets you the right neighborhood, the right school districts. And listen, I say this jokingly, but maybe not. If you're anywhere up the Interstate 25 corridor in Colorado, from Denver, Castle Rock, head on north to Fort Collins, Wellington. If you are in Aurora, she'll make sure you don't live next to Trenday or Rockwell. She will do all of these things. And again, homeswithsherry.com, 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 and make sure you mention Jimmy Lakey whenever you reach out to her. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest to come up here. I've been teasing this interview that I did long form with him about 2 weeks ago, and we have not posted that up yet because I have been traveling and been so busy. But I'm going to give you, rather than play a snippet of my conversation and interview, it's Rabbi Daniel. He is on the hotline here. Let me see if I pull up the right thing. Rabbi, good morning again. Welcome in, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm not in my pretty studio when I interviewed you last. I'm out on the road in Texas, but technology allows this to all work, sir. How are you? You doing well?
I'm doing great. It's miraculous technology.
Yeah, technology is fantastic. Rabbi, I want to dive in here. Since you and I chatted, and we're going to post that interview up here soon that you and I did, we'll talk about your book as well. But I'm watching these protests that have been happening at Columbia University. I'm watching this guy that gets arrested who's a supporter of Hamas, and he's an anti-Semitic idiot in my estimation. And the State Department threatens to revoke his student visa, kick him out of the country. And I think that sounds common sense. That's common sense to me, that you don't come here on a student visa. It's a right, not a privilege. And yet the American left is freaking out that this guy may be deported for his terroristic viewpoints. Give me your thoughts on this whole explosion and reaction, almost in support of a guy that seems to support terrorism.
More than seems to, he does support terrorism. I mean, this guy, Mahmoud Khalil, is a Syrian-born individual who spent time in Lebanon in Hezbollah's camps. He came to America to Columbia University. He represents an organization which is outwardly and openly anti-Semitic, which calls for the death of the Jews, death to the United States. And this group has already been found to be guilty of causing violence on campus and destruction in different campus buildings and the library, threatening people, threatening jihad. So this is really not about free speech. This is really about incitement to violence. I think Donald Trump did the right thing.
Yeah, Rabbi, I don't know where your mic is at. It's kind of muffled and cracking up. I don't know if it's get a little bit clearer. We want everybody to hear what you have to say and not miss anything. So it sounds either had a short or it was being buffered by something. Oh, now I don't hear you at all. We've lost you, Rabbi. Do not hear the Rabbi. It's live. This is live streamcasting, my friends. There you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to hear me either. You hear me now?
It's still kind of crackling a little bit. But we'll try to make through with it here. You were saying, and I want you to repeat what you said because we might have missed it, about just the reaction. Are you shocked that there's so much anti-Semitism and support of Hamas and hatred of Israel among that community at Columbia?
Jimmy, how's the connection now?
Oh, that's much better, right? That's you bingo right there.
Sorry about that. So this guy, Mahmoud Khalil, is a Syrian-born individual who spent time in Lebanon doing some work with the Hezbollah, being trained by them, came to the United States. He's a real agitator on campus. You know that a green card is not a green light for violence. And that's exactly what this guy, Mahmoud Khalil, has been advocating for. He wants the destruction of Israel, destruction of the West. You know, this guy openly advocates for these things on campus. We have his posters. We have the videos. He's a real danger to our society, and I think Donald Trump and Marco Rubio did the right thing by trying to get him deported.
Are you surprised that to see such anti-Semitism and Israel hate coming from seemingly the American left and the world of academia? I mean, it's shocking to me.
It's been building up for over 50 years. There's nothing new. The left and Islam have united together over the last 30 to 40 years. what we're seeing on campus is what they've been talking about. I mean, we got to go back to the roots of the conflict. I mean, the Hamas charter, which this guy Khalil is advocating for, openly calls for the destruction of Jews, Israel, Christians, the elimination of Judeo-Christian civilization. When somebody says something, we have to take them at face value. And they've been calling for the destruction of the West. They're actually carrying it out right now. I mean, look at what we used to call the crown jewels of American society: Columbia, Harvard, Stanford. They've occupied these campuses for the last year and a half. They're breaking into buildings. They're doing damage. They say they've done over $30,000 of damages at Columbia. This is not about free speech. This is about incitement to violence and actual violence. So good for Donald Trump for trying to get him out of the country.
Rabbi Daniel Schoenbuch is my guest, and he's written a book, and we do a detailed analysis of the book in an interview that we'll launch this week. It's called Viktor Frankl and the Psychology of the Soul, A Guide to Finding Meaning and Emotional Wellness. That interview has already been recorded, and I was supposed to launch last week, but we didn't do it because I've been traveling, and it's just been crazy busy, so everybody forgive me. But Rabbi Daniel Schoenbuch is my guest, and let me ask you, you mentioned the last year and a half, 2 years, these crown jewels of American academia have been occupied. But you also said this has been going on 50 years. Walk us back in your estimation. Where did we go wrong 50 years ago? Because you often have a tragedy, World War, I think in Colorado we have Columbine. We'll never forget. School shootings we'll never forget. War we'll never forget. And somehow we forget. Walk us back 50 years. How did we end up forgetting the Holocaust?
Well, the roots of the left-wing intrusion into campuses started in the 1960s. And this unholy alliance between left and academia began during that period. I mean, if you did a survey today of American college campuses, and we wanted to find out how many are Democrats and how many are Republicans, I think about 90% of academia today on American college campuses are Democrats. So we have a tremendous imbalance of who's on our campuses. And little known to the American public, they've been promoting and actively preaching these very left-wing ideas on campuses, anti-American, anti-West ideals. And therefore, we're seeing the fruits of their labor right now. All you have to do is take that left, combine it with radical Islam, and that's what you started seeing on October 7th.
How do we get back? Obviously, this guy should be deported. I hope. I hear that they're looking at other people and other student visas to revoke because it is a right to be here. And if you're going to be here, come here to learn, do your reading, writing, arithmetic, your master's studies. And other than that, don't be rabble-rousing in the street. I'm all for deportation. But how do we get is there a quick fix to rectify this? Because obviously the leadership at Stanford, the leadership at Columbia, they're all either complicit or fearful.
The quick fix is, number one, is enforce the laws. It's that simple. When laws are enforced, people are safer. When Columbia refused to enforce laws, they said if the Hamas supporters were not identifying an individual Jew, but just calling for genocide of all Jews, that's okay. They're making a big mistake. So number one is enforce the laws. When people incite towards violence, whether collectively or towards an individual, you have to make people safe. When the Hamas supporters saw that the law is not being called in, they're being stopped. The NYPD, the New York Police Department, was being stopped from going onto campus. That was a signal to continue what they're doing. So when societies stand up with clarity, they're much safer. So that's the number one thing we have to do right now. Enforce the law, number one. And number two, they have to begin a process of de-radicalizing philosophy on campus, because if we don't de-radicalize, we keep on going where we're going, this will only get worse.
I don't ever like to just, we're not trying to spark flames of hyperbole, but I think it's safe to say that the Democrat Party has sided with Jew hatred. And outside of Fetterman from Pennsylvania, there's not a lot of prominent Democrats that I see calling out these Columbia activists. If I'm not mistaken, Cuomo, who wants to run for mayor of New York City, he's not weighing in. He's like keeping quiet on it at the very least. Is it hyperbolic to say that the Democratic Party is run by Jew haters other than maybe Fetterman? I mean, give me your thoughts.
That wasn't the Democratic Party. My mother's generation, she's a baby boomer. The Democratic Party was much closer to the Jewish community in Israel in those days. Over the last 40 years, it slid in the opposite direction. And so we have people like Ilhan Omar, we have AOC, Rashiba Tlaib. All these people are openly, virulently anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. They're becoming the dominant forces in the Democratic Party. That's why when I became a conservative about 40 years ago, I started getting more interested in the Republican Party. And we have a lot of friends. We feel much safer in the Republican Party. And if you have any Jewish listeners to your show, I want to tell them to start thinking about supporting the Republicans, because those are the people that are real allies today, not the Democratic Party anymore.
Obviously, we've heard for years that especially the New York Jewish community was staunchly Democrat and really were hanging on up until a couple of years ago. Has there been a shift in the Jewish community, you think, back to the Republican Party?
Oh, definitely. I'm one of the people that's part of the shift. And I can tell you that this last election, we saw a tremendous increase in the people in the Jewish community supporting the Republican Party. And I think it's going to get stronger and stronger. The lines are being drawn. And I think the reality is becoming clearer and clearer every day that the Democratic Party is holding on to a lot of anti-Semitic voices. We're much safer in the Republican Party. And thank God we have leadership like Donald Trump leading the way.
You know, it says something about the Democrat Party and who they think more reasoned people when Cuomo himself declines and refuses to comment about ICE arresting an anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, anti-Jew Colombian activist. And Cuomo says, I have no comment on that. Leadership says you're going to have to set some comments, even if it bucks the Elon Omars of your party. But evidently, Cuomo's not the leader that he pretends to be, because he pled the fifth on that one.
He came out pretty wishy-washy a week ago or so on these issues, and he's not going to get our support. If they want our community support, they have to come out unequivocally against anti-Semitism. They have to also embrace Judeo-Christian values if they want us to vote for them. So the ball is in their court right now. We are moving in the opposite direction than of the Democratic Party.
Rabbi Daniel Schoenbuch is my guest, and in just a moment or later today, I'm going to commit that we will finally get the long-form interview. He and I went to about 45 minutes about a week ago, and I've just been traveling and unable to get that situated. I got to put it on the schedule to do. Your latest book is called Viktor Frankl and the Psychology of the Soul, a guide to finding meaning and emotional wellness, and it's based on the writings of Viktor Frankl. Give us a kind of an excerpt. Of course, I want people to make sure they're paying attention. We're going to launch the long form interview, but a quick plug of the book, sir.
I'm a spiritual psychotherapist, and unlike classical psychotherapy that focuses on the self, self-love, self-fulfillment, and self-ego, Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor, wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning about his experiences in Auschwitz. And what he discovered is that people that wanted to focus on fulfilling a meaning in the future while they were in Auschwitz had a greater chance of surviving. His message is very clear. Psychotherapy that focuses on the self makes people worse. The psychotherapy I'm writing about in my new book, Viktor Frankl and the Psychology of the Soul, helps people focus on things beyond themselves. So in my book, I have people focus on values, on meaningful experiences. When people focus on values and meaning, it's a much more lucrative place to heal from issues like depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and addiction. People are going to get much better rapidly. Psychotherapy is not really working. My book is the antidote to that.
Daniel, you're also the founder of the Mental Health First Initiative. That aims to bring faith, family, and meaning to the mental health conversation. Again, we're going to launch here just a bit the interview that you and I did about a week and a half ago now, and I'm just running behind. I had a couple of other interviews in the queue, and yours is up next. If folks want to get a copy of the book and or follow you and your work, where do they go?
Healwithmeaning.com. Healwithmeaning.com. Learn about me, and I'm happy to answer any questions they have as well.
Rabbi, I appreciate you hopping on here last minute. Thank you very much. We'll talk again soon. Rabbi Schoenbuch, Daniel Schoenbuch, and good to have him with us. And again, check out his work, healwithmeaning.com, if you want to learn more and find a copy of that book. It's a fascinating read indeed, and I think you'll enjoy the interview that we did a couple of weeks ago. All right, it's almost time to wrap up the program. If you've noticed, the background is different. A lot of you join us late. We are rocking on the Twitter this morning. Several Facebook feeds are rocking and rolling for us out there. Hello, Media Equalizer. Hello, Rumble. How you doing? Instagram, I hope you're doing well as well. Good to have all of you Instagrammers out there. And pleased and privileged. If you notice the background is kind of cheesy, it's a hotel room. Okay, don't judge me. It's because I'm out of town dealing with some family stuff, and here we are, and I'll be here probably the rest of the week as well. Somebody put up there, and I didn't know this is happening. Is this true? The poll that says who's the leader of the Democrat Party, and 10% said it's AOC, is this why AOC and Bernie are coming to Greeley, Colorado on 3/21? Are they really? That'd be fantastic. If you're not in Colorado, you know Greeley, Colorado is the county seat of Weld County, which is probably the most conservative place you could probably land in the state of Colorado, at least in kind of the Denver metro area. It doesn't get much more conservative than Weld County. Matter of fact, I live in Weld County, Colorado, and Greeley is where I have to report to for jury duty. And so I don't live close. It's far, far away because it's a really big county. But I'm telling you, that's fantastic. I have to look into that. Are they going to the University of Northern Colorado? Is there UNC? Maybe they're going to go to UNC. Okay, good. I'm sure that's going to be well received because it's tough to find. It's tough to find I think every precinct in Weld County this past election went red. There was not a blue precinct in the whole county, and it's a giant swath of Colorado. So anyway, that's good to know, Jim. I did not know that. Everybody like my green? Wait, nobody's even commented other than me mentioning I'm wearing green. This is the first time on this program since we started this, and producer Chad can attest, but I have always worn a shade of blue. But I'm a happy guy, but my son only let me dress in blue before he went off to college, and now he's going to be greatly disappointed. And the TV producers, when I did the television show a few years ago, they only wanted me in red tones because they said it matched my skin tone. And so here I am wearing green, pissing off so many people, and I appreciate it, but happy St. Patrick's Day. Are you still allowed to pinch? I remember as a kid growing up, St. Patty's Day, you showed up at school and the teacher handed out stickers. Like if you didn't have green on, she put a sticker on you because she knew we were going to be pinching each other all day. Is pinching still a thing? You never hear anything about pinching. Have we gone so politically correct and so nice and we can't pinch anyone? Because, I may pinch myself. Yeah, just a little on the hiney. Well, I'm wearing green. I can't. Never mind. If I take this shirt off, my God, I'm going to... Stop it. Don't go this path. Okay. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. No, I don't know pinching. I don't know if you pinch anymore. I'm trying to remember when my son was in school, if he were, I think if I recall, I said, are you going to get pinched? You don't have green on. He said, what? I don't think they teach the pinching part of the wear green. Is that still a deal? I don't even know. Somebody let me know in the chat room. Is it still okay to pinch people on St. Patrick's Day if they don't wear green? Yeah. I don't even know. By the way, I would like to test you. I'm going to wrap up and do the meme roulette here in just a second. But I've been in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for like 4 days now. And let me tell you, there is good eating here. There are restaurants in every corner. There's churches everywhere. I mean, you can drive a block from the block down the block, and there's 45 different flavors of Baptist. They're Baptist everywhere. There's churches everywhere, but there are restaurants everywhere. I'm sitting here going, just on one street, you could spend days and never hit everything. It is a food haven here, and I grew up here, but it's been 25 years ago since I lived here, and it's a lot of food. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say I'm a big Tex-Mex fan, and I like Tex-Mex. That's all I'm gonna say is that I'm plotting my next Tex-Mex. Now, I haven't done the barbecue once. Some of the better barbecue places are not necessarily where I'm at right here. I know where some of them are at, and I'm not traveling that far out because I'm kind of in an area between here and where I need to be taking care of items. So I'm kind of in a certain radius, but let me just say there's a lot of restaurants here, and Tex-Mex is fantastic. I'm getting hungry already after talking to Chef Rogers. All right, I want to remind you, go get dinner tickets for that dinner for Chef Roger. It's this Saturday night. It's going to support Hometown Heroes Outdoors. They're $150, and if you go, if I'm in town, I'm going to stop by. I'm just not sure when I get back yet. Could be back Friday, could be back Saturday, could be back Thursday. Just kind of on a wait and see basis here. But if I'm back, I'll stop by his house, and I'd love to meet you there. If not, you're still supporting your great cause, and they're very fun events. It's Hometown Heroes Outdoors and the Colorado chapter, and get the ticket for the Rogers and Sherry's culinary event. I think you will enjoy it. As a matter of fact, I know you will, and you will not leave hungry. It's just a great night. $150 at all. 100% of that goes to charity, and you get a tax write-off, etc. All right, let's do the meme roulette here as I wrap up here this Monday edition of the show on St. Patrick's Day as I make a rare appearance in a green shirt, combining the tropical culture with the Irish community, green and tropical. Ladies and gentlemen, we do this every week, every day of the show. We steal memes straight from the internet, and we steal them because we're shameless like that. And let's do it. Round and round the world. I don't have a globe to spin. Round and round the globe we go. We steal the memes from where no one knows. Producer Chad's pushing the button as the meme director. Oh, there's a Babylon Bee headline. Federal judge appoints himself as president. These judges are out of control. I was reading how many judges that the Republicans allowed to get through in the last minute of the Biden presidency. Republicans should be ashamed of themselves, but that was under the feckless and failed turtle leadership of Mitch McConnell. But other Republicans could have stood up against him and not allowed Biden to get some of these last-minute lifetime appointees in there. But I just still love the response from the El Salvadorian president. You've got to turn those planes around, get those prisoners back here. And the El Salvadorian president goes, oops, sorry, too late. We're already gone. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Meme number 2. I love the Elon Musk ones. Elon Musk is a genius. Electric vehicles are so much better for the climate. And now blank the climate. This goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. President Trump, if you're listening, their Green New Deal environmental nonsense has gone out the window. They're hypocrites. They don't really care about it. They were virtue signaling the whole time. Now they're willing to firebomb and gas them and burn up the lithium batteries, destroy the environment out of pure hatred. They hate Elon Musk more than they supposedly love the trees and the environment because these people are radical leftists. And so President Trump, if we finally have them shaking off their EV Green New Deal ideology and slapping that religion down. So President Trump, if you would just proclaim yourself to be a woman and say that you're transgender and now the first American president, they will slap down that gender ideology as quickly as they've let go of the Tesla. I mean, they would really they can't handle it. They cannot do it. Matter of fact, if you say, President Trump, that you support oxygen and you think oxygen is fantastic, please do, because they'll just hold their breath. Just hold the breath. Just hold the breath and fade right away. I don't wish ill on anyone, but it's worth trying, isn't it? It's worth trying. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. I don't have a globe. Okay, listen, this is true. This is going to set this straight. Stolen memes here. You were okay with 86,000 agents hired to audit you. But now you're all pissed off about 40 Doge employees hired to audit the people stealing your tax dollars. Cool. That is a definition of the American Democrat Party right now. You're okay with 86,000 IRS agents hired to audit you, but now you got 40 Doge employees hired to audit the people, not you, but audit the people that have been stealing your tax dollars, and you're all upset in a tizzy and bombing up Teslas. Cool. Good to know. Round around the world we go. We steal the memes from where we don't know. Let's see what's next in the meme machine. Oh, this is the one. This is the one. You think he votes for AOC? I bet he does. This is an AOC voter. This is the modern Democrat Party at play here. The guy telling you to boycott Tesla. There he is in Mama's basement on the keyboard. Yeah, listen to him. Democrats, keep listening to him. Yep, that's the guy. He's also ticked off at Chuck Schumer right now for that continuing resolution. There's the poster child. Tell me you're a Democrat without saying you're a Democrat. That's it. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Let's do this. This is one of my favorites I found over the weekend. Americans right now, there they are, smiling, happy. We feel better days are ahead. It's not perfect yet, but we're dialing it in. It's getting better. We're respected. We're taking care of ISIS. We're going to solve some trade wars that have been waged against us. We're not starting trade wars. They've been waged against us, and we're just actually going to even the score a little bit, get the playing field even. But there's the Democrats, rather. The face of the Democrat Party between the old fat bearded woman that was in the previous screen. Maybe those were man boobs. I'm not sure. And this lady here, the Democrats have real problems. And if you're an American young person, and you're like, well, who'd I vote for in the next election? Well, pick your poison right there. There are your options. There are your options indeed. All right, I think we may have one more meme or so. Let's see if the meme machine has worked dry. Round and round the world we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Oop. We have milked the meme machine dry, my friends. We have milked it dry. And for that, you can probably be thankful. All right, I'm going to check into that. Bernie, Trump, here's a comment from Ray. Trump should proclaim himself to be a lesbian trapped in a man's body. They would give up the way they've slapped Tesla and this EV thing and the Green New Deal to the curb anymore. they've slapped it to the curb. They're ready to destroy the environment. They hate they hate Elon Musk so much. And so I'm telling you, if he can despair himself as a female lesbian trapped in a man's body, I'm telling you, this gender ideology nonsense and puberty blockers for little kids, all that stuff would go away. That's all you have to do is they will do anything opposite of what President Trump tells them to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am broadcasting, as I said, a streamcasting, as we call it, from the beautiful Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm not far from Jerry World Stadium. I'll be here most of the rest of the week, and I'll be back in Colorado soon enough. Wherever you're listening to us, thanks. Twitter is rocking and roll this morning. Hey, share this, like this. You're deputized to go into all the world and share the Lakey Unleashed Streamcast. If you don't subscribe on Patreon, you should. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. There's a free side and then there's a paid side. And we're going to be releasing a new interview with the Rabbi Daniel, coming up on the paid side a little bit later. $9.95 a month. There's a 7-day free trial. And I think you'll like this interview with Rabbi Daniel. That's dropping today. Watch your inbox. Patreon.com/Jimmy Lakey. CharitiesWorkersPromise.org. Hometown Heroes Outdoors. Go get a ticket for dinner in Colorado. I'll see you tomorrow morning from Dallas. Good Lord, willing the creeks don't rise. May God bless you. May God bless America. Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.